And good evening. Welcome into Frickers in Fremont, where kids always eat free. It's the Frickers of Fremont High School Football Coaches Show. My name is Kyle Knight, Josh Frederick running the video tonight. And back in Fremont at the studio, Aiden Klein. We have Bellevue night for the first time ever. We're going to have Bellevue football night. We've had Bellevue basketball night, but this will be our first Bellevue football night. Then we'll have St. Joe, Clyde, and Ross here on the show. But we're going to start with head coach Alex Shepard. Then we'll have four members of the Bellevue football team. But Bellevue doing very well right now. Had a beautiful win last week. And right now, Coach, you're right where you want to be for a conference championship.
Yeah, we need a little bit of help to get here, but everything's in front of us. All of our goals are right there. We just got to go and make them happen now at this point.
Right, you went out. You're at least a share of the conference championship because four teams right now have one loss, and it's set up perfect for you the next 2 weeks. So
Yeah, it's a good conference. I mean, there's no gimmies on any week. Anybody can win and lose, depending on how you play. But we feel like we got the right guys, and we can go out there and give it our best. And
now, obviously, you weren't here last year, but you guys, you're off to a 5-3 start this year. Obviously, your seniors have done a wonderful job leading this team, right?
they have. It's a great group. Excuse me. They care a lot. They show that way in the effort that they give on every given night. Even in our losses, we give great effort at all times. And our kids our seniors have stepped up and led the team, and their effort is second to none.
And we're going to talk to four members, four seniors here later on tonight. As it is, as I said, Bellevue Redmond night. We're joined by head coach Alex Shepard. You can watch the show on YouTube. Just go to the Eagle 99 YouTube page, or go to our Facebook page and click on the link for the video. Or, of course, you can listen right here on Eagle 99 or stream it on WFROradio.com. So let's kind of dissect your year, Coach Shepard. Obviously started with a win over Clyde and Wasion. You played Shelby, obviously the best team you played. I think they're the best team in the region. What's your thought on, you've also played Perkins, so what's your thought on Shelby?
Yeah, well, they're really good, and they've got a lot of guys on the other side of the field, and they're coached well. Coach Mahaney does a really good job down there. They're explosive. They're explosive, and we were limited a little bit due to some injuries, so kind of took some things away that we thought might help us. But they do a really good job, and they're really talented right now.
We did the game last year at Shelby. The one thing I noticed about DeVito, he's not a tall guy, but boy, he's good. He's a true dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, he's an athlete, and like you said, he's not jumping off the page when you look at his height and weight, but he can sling it. His arm strength and the things that he's able to do throwing the ball, that doesn't come around much.
I think, honestly, and I think they have a shot at the state championship this year. They're that loaded, I think.
They do.
But our region every year, whoever wins the region really has a great shot of winning state.
They do.
So then, of course, wins over Norwalk, then you fell to Perkins. But Addison was a close one, 21-14. Kind of talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah. We got off to such a slow start that game, and kind of it was a battle of field position in that first half, and we were just always on our side of the field. We couldn't get going offensively. The defense played well. We had a turnover that hurt us a little bit, and it took us a while to get going offensively, and our defense held out as long as they could. We waited too long to get going.
Okay.
And too many mistakes.
Well, weren't you down 14-0 last week? At least that's what
score
stream said.
Yeah,
okay.
Very similar to that week.
Yeah, I was watching, and then you guys just kept scoring. So obviously last week you fell in that hole, but you had time to rebound.
We did, and we played. It as good a defense as I've been around for those last three quarters we played. I think we didn't give up. We didn't give up many yards in that second half.
Right. And that's Columbia. That's the team actually tied for first place right now in the upper division. Of course, before that you had the win over Huron. So as your first year as a head coach, Alex, at Bellevue, what's the one thing that surprised you the most?
It's not really surprising. I kind of knew it coming in. It's just the resiliency of these kids and their toughness. That's something I always knew about Bellevue, and that's something that attracted me to this job was the type of kids that are here and the effort and toughness that's been here, as long as, they've been playing football
And they obviously bought into your scheme changes that you made. I love the first week I saw you guys against Clyde. I just love the schematic changes you made offensively, and obviously every time I've seen you since, you've kind of built on those principles. And go ahead, talk about that.
Yeah, we're trying to, we got a couple different things we like to do. We like to get under center and try to be physical,
Which people don't do anymore.
But we've also got plenty of athletes. We can spread people out. So right now we're trying to we're trying to give what the defense is taking us,
Right.
And adapt to what we think is going to give us the most success on Fridays.
Is Ike the perfect quarterback for your system?
Yeah, he does a really good job. He's a good-sized kid. He can throw the ball well. He's athletic. He's smart. I mean, he can kind of do anything you need him to.
Right. So he kind of lucked out there to get a
Yeah.
guy who had already started for a year, and now he's got 2 years left.
Right.
As we look at the conference, though, this is really interesting because Fort Clinton, they've actually played 3 conference games. There's only one.
Right.
But you played them this week, and they're 2-1. You're 1-1. Edison's 1-1, and so is Vermilion. They play each other this week. So after this, you're only going to have 2 teams with 1 loss, and then next week you finish by playing Vermilion, correct? So
Right.
if Vermilion should beat Edison, we'd have a true championship game next week at Bellevue.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we got to take care of business this week. I mean, Fort Clinton's got a chance to share, the conference
Right.
if they win this week. So it's a big game for them as it is for us. And obviously, a goal of ours is to win the conference, but we're taking things 1 week at a time, and we're just trying to go 1-0 each week.
So when you watch them on film, we did the Clyde game 2 weeks ago, and that was just crazy. It was 48-48 after 3 quarters, and there was 1 touchdown in the 4th quarter. But I haven't done a game like that in a while. But offensively, they can score in an instant.
They can, and we've seen that the last several weeks. It seems like every week we play a new team in this conference that is capable of putting 50 points up.
Right.
It's more of the same. So they've got a good quarterback. They've got a really good running back.
That Pinkleton kid's really good.
They've got some good receivers, and they do a lot of good things. So, it's just one more week of the same thing.
Right.
We got to try to limit their big plays, and we got to have success on offense.
With them, it seemed like their biggest key, at least in the Clyde game, they like to get outside. And when they get outside, it's hard. They have a lot of team speed, so it's hard to catch them. So I'm sure that's a key to contain them this week. So, Coach, after this, obviously you have the Vermilion game, and then that'll wrap up the season. But how quick it goes! We're in week 9 already, right?
Yeah,
I mean, as a head coach, I'm sure it went even faster than when you were assistant coach, right?
It's flown by, and part of that is the community, and the kids are great to be around. It's enjoyable, and obviously winning a little bit helps.
Yes.
But it's just such an enjoyable place to be. It's an enjoyable group of kids and enjoyable staff. I mean, which is great. But yeah, it's flown by. I feel like we were just here after week 1.
Yeah, we were. Like week 2, you and I were talking. What's funny about Bellevue, they come out no matter what it is, you know what I mean? But last year when we were doing the girls' run to the state championship, every week there was more people. I'm like, there aren't many more people in Bellevue. I don't know who else is showing up, but the crowds kept getting bigger and bigger. And then down there in Dayton, it was huge for the state championship. But Bellevue's just a community. They'll show up no matter what, won't
Yeah,
they?
they care. They care. They're supportive. They care. It's great families. And, it's been really nice.
I keep saying it, but you really lucked into a great position. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't apply for a better job, really.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's been great. It's been exactly what I envisioned it. The administration, the kids, great staff. It's just been really great.
Let's talk about your staff. Talk about them a little bit and how they've been helping you here in year number 1.
Yeah, obviously, probably the biggest key is our defense coordinator, Scott Mercer. Does a really good job with
Your
our
defense
kids.
has been excellent.
I mean, it's been excellent every week, and even some of those losses, those lopsided scores we had, a lot of that was our inability to control the ball.
Okay.
And when the defense is on
Right.
the field for so long against a good team, it's just you're gonna wear down.
Is it kind of like Norwalk in reverse? Because Norwalk, he just couldn't get things going. He scored that first touchdown, and that seemed like we were up 55 points at that. But after that, it was just sluggish on offense.
Yeah. We're still trying to find our groove. It's still new to the kids. I mean, we've been working it. Obviously now it's going to week 9.
Right.
But when it's brand new, when it's new terminology, when it's just everything is brand new for these kids, they're still learning it. Learning how to do everything, and we're adding a little bit as we go. It's not. We didn't install every single thing week 1.
Right, obviously.
So we're adding a little bit as we go. So, they're doing a good job learning it, but we're getting better each week. doing the things we're trying to do.
We're talking Bellevue football with head coach Alex Shepard. Who else on your staff do you want to point out for me?
Yeah, Dylan Foltz, our receivers coach, helps with DBs. You know, he's been there, he played there. He's a Bellevue guy. He's a track coach as well, so
Okay.
he works with a lot of our kids year round. Pete Highlanders, our defensive line coach, was a player at Hillsdale College. You know, has a lot of knowledge. Has some kids in younger classes. Bruce Notstein's been around for quite a while. He's actually an Edison guy. Graduated from Edison, but he's been with the program for several years. He works with our offensive line and our special teams. Riley Runwan is a quarterbacks coach. Played quarterback for Bellevue.
I'm sensing a theme here.
About 10 years ago, and he does a really good job with Ike and some of our younger kids, and you know he's eager to learn and,
Right.
and do things. And, Dave Klaus is our freshman coach, helps with offensive and defensive line.
Is that Reed's dad? Or?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Dakota McPeak is a new addition to this year's staff. Player at Bellevue, played at Ashland University.
Okay.
As a defensive back, he's coaching our DBs this year. A younger guy, he's like, you know, a little bit of energy.
Right.
You know, it's a new face, and he does a really good job. He's super knowledgeable, and he's great with the kids.
I was thinking half your guys are over at Perkins. Like they're all Bellevue guys over there.
Well, I don't
So-
know them, so.
I know. I'm just saying, but there half of them went to Bellevue as well. All right, let's talk about these four seniors tonight. We have Nolan Hartman, Billy Saberna, Reed Klaus, and Tatum Gore. But let's start with Nolan and what he's done for you and what he means to the program.
I mean, he's a captain. He's our starting outside linebacker. The last several weeks, Evan Beauvais was our tailback. You know, start week one. He's been out the last couple weeks, and Nolan stepped in and been taking the majority of our carries.
Okay.
Just done a phenomenal job. You know, stepping right in there, and we didn't miss a beat. He's on every special team. I mean, he does everything. He was on homecoming court 2 weeks ago.
There you
so
go.
He's a Swiss Army knife.
All
He's
right,
just
I
a
like
great
that.
kid.
And then Billy Saberna.
Yeah, Billy Saberna plays fullback for us and plays defensive line. You know, he's one of those hard-nosed, tough kids that, you know, you look back at the mid-'90s, you think just hard-nosed, tough,
Right.
LSU, NOL football, and that's him.
That's him.
That's him. I mean, he does everything for us. He's going to run through a brick wall when you need him.
Okay. And then number 50, Reed Klaus,
Klaus
the
does-
slimmed down Reed Klaus, I might mention, so from last year.
Yeah, make sure you tell him that.
I will. That's the first thing I said at the first game. I'm like, hey, Reed's lost some LBs this year. So.
He starts left tackle for us in defensive end. You know, he's also a captain. He's been a starter for a couple years now, and he kind of does everything for us. When
Kicker too?
He does. He does. I told him, you know, he's kicking. He's going to be our Bellevue's leading scorer in history after.
He's old school too with
He
his
is.
kicks. I love it when he kicks.
And then Tatum Gore also plays offensive line. He starts right beside Reed. He's at left guard. He plays on our interior defensive line, and he's just got his motor. He gets after the quarterback. He makes a lot of highlight reel type hits. He's another tough, hard-nosed kid that, you know, just wants to get out there and hit somebody.
Now, when you come into a program, obviously the first thing you need is for the seniors to buy in, right? And obviously you've gotten that with this group, not just these four, but you got quite a bit of seniors on this roster. And you know, you mentioned. Is Evan? No, he's just a junior. But you know, you have quite a few seniors on here, and it seems like they've all bought in. So
They have, and you know, they lead at practice. You know, they all show up every day on time. They work hard in the weight room. You know, they get good grades. They're good in school. It's just been a great group to step into and have, you know, start off, you know, this tenure.
that's awesome. And of course, you'll be playing Port Clinton on Friday night. We'll be there on our sister station 92.1 The Wolf, and looking forward to that. I'm not looking. I don't want it to be 55-48. I'm sure your defense.
No,
will.
we don't want to do that. You know, I'd rather win.
It is fun doing those games, but at some point you're like, let's play some defense. You know what I mean? So, anyway, let's bring in the kids, and thank you, Coach, for
thank
coming
you.
over for our first ever Bellevue football night. And I'll have you on after to wrap it up. Okay?
sure.
All right. We'll start with Nolan Hartman, the senior.
You know, we had a pretty rough year last year.
Yeah.
The year last
Yeah.
year, you know, 2-8. Just want to build on that. You know, what was